I think we're all just given expectations from our variety of sources, church, family, culture, our own inner selves, all of that. And yeah, the good news is we do get to outgrow some of those.
Welcome to More Than Small Talk. We're Susie Eller,
Jennifer Watson,
and Holly Girth, writers and real life friends. We're inviting you to go deeper, become freer, and feel more connected.
So imagine you have a cup of coffee, a mug of tea, or a green smoothie in your hand,
and we're all hanging out in your favorite place together.
Hey, More Than Small Talk friends. We're glad you're with us this week. And we have been doing this podcast for 7 years, which is crazy. That is a long time and a lot of life. And as we look back, in some ways we're different people with different thoughts than when we started. So we thought it might be fun to have a conversation about things we've changed our minds about.
Oh, so many things. So what is something you've changed your mind about since the podcast started?
Building a website, building social media, trying to get all the numbers. I thought that that's what I had to do. And now I don't think that there's any rules and I don't want to do it. I've shut down my website. I'm moving away from the hustle mentality.
That's really big.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. And it feels really good. I just, I don't know that it's adding to my life.
Yeah.
And so before I thought I had to do that to write. And now there's so many ways to get your words out there.
Yeah.
And so there's really no rules.
I love that. And I love that because I train writers and coach writers and speakers. And I think that there's this trap that we fall into, Jennifer, that says that it's all about us. It's all about numbers. It's all about platform. And sometimes I sit down and I'm like, what did you originally fall in love with? What was that original call?
Yeah.
Let's revisit that. So, I'm really proud of you for that. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. I mean, all the things that I was really thought that I was working towards, you reach that goal and it's like, okay. And so I don't know. I just think that I started out 7 years ago with so much pressure on myself in so many areas. And that pressure is just off.
It's huge.
It's big. Yeah.
Yeah. So Holly said something maybe 3 years ago. I don't know. We've been doing this a long time. That has really stuck with me. And she said that if all the sand and all the oceans and all the world were what we knew or what I'm going to mess it up. Holly, do you remember?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think what we know about God or things in general.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, and what we know is a grain of sand.
Yeah.
If you take all of that, and I would say that is something that I have come to totally believe is that everything that I thought that I knew, I only had a grain of sand.
Yeah.
And so it's made me much more curious. If I meet someone and they have a very different opinion than me, or they see it a different way, I'm now curious about that. And so I think that's what's changed. And talking to people and hearing their stories and everything has just shown me how big the world is. So what I've changed my mind about is that things are always concrete, that it's either black or white, right or wrong. And what I realized is, no, it's not.
Yeah. A lot of times it's both and.
It's yes.
Or neither.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've changed my mind on how hard on myself I thought I had to be in order to make progress. So, and I've seen many moments, even on this podcast, where I've shifted more into a place of belovedness instead of putting pressure on myself. And that has really changed things. And I think a big part of that was for a long time, I thought that somehow part of that critical voice in my mind was God's voice.
Yeah.
And realizing, no, that is not the voice of the Spirit. That is not the voice of God. I call it now our inner protector who steps into an inner critic role at times, and recognizing that and moving into what I call an inner advocate role instead has been really healing for me.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. And I think that's why we wanted to do this in the first place, this almost 8 years ago now. Well, if you add on the lives that we did. It's been way more than that. It's been over 10 years. But I think that just sitting down with other women and hearing from their perspective and their stories and their backgrounds, it opens up our mind to say, like when you're talking about the critical voice, maybe that isn't God, or for Jennifer, maybe that's not as important as I thought it was, and for me, it's like, okay, I had an unconscious bias here. My son and I talked about that just this week. He was talking to his son, who's 10, and he asked him a question, and Caleb came back and answered a question just innocently as a little kid. And Ryan realized, okay, here's an unconscious bias that's forming. He sees people in this way, and it gave him a great opportunity with his son to sit down and say, hey, son, what about this? What do you think about that? And Caleb's like, oh, I think that for me and for many of us, we can go our whole life and not be challenged in those areas. And we can have an unconscious bias where we see the world through a specific lens. So I'm really grateful for More Than Small Talk for that, because we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of room to pivot. We've all gone through so many seasons together. And I feel like we're going into a really good season of us just kind of relaxing when the beginning of this, we were really hard on ourselves. Like if I flubbed, I would be like, ooh, and now I'm like, whatever, But I do think that a lot of Christian women, and I'm talking about myself, have just been so uptight and fearful. And I don't think that that's how life is supposed to be at all.
I know it's not.
It's not.
Not at all.
It's so much sweeter.
Yeah. So when I look at this question, we're kind of asking, it's not so much when the podcast started, it's just in the last several years. Yeah. What has changed in our heart and our mind? I'm watching right now, and I'm so lucky at this age to still have a parent. And I know that, but I'm watching my own mother age, and I'm looking at that, and I'm trying to take lessons from that. I'm realizing that time really is precious. And this 7.5, 8 years, 10 years, counting the other times that we did together, that's a good chunk of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is actually really precious time. And how cool is it that at the end of it, we can look back and say, yep, there's been growth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey friends, we hope you're enjoying our conversation. And one thing that helped me as I try to not be so hard on myself and change that inner voice was having daily gentle truth in front of me. And I put a lot of what I learned through that process in my devotional book, 365 Truths for Every Woman's Heart. So if you would like someone to come alongside you as you figure out some growth and change in your life too, then you can find out more at hollygirth.com/365 and download a free excerpt. Now back to our conversation. And I think that's human, right? Like we want to change and grow. And somehow we expect that from kids. Like, I know I'm not going to play with dolls anymore or spend my afternoons catching turtles outdoors. Although I might, if someone let me, I'd probably do that again. But then we get grown up and we think, oh, we're supposed to have it all figured out. We have to stay the same forever. And I think every season. So I think what I'm saying is when we change, not seeing it as, oh, that was wrong before, but that's what fit that season. And now it's a new season and I'm a different person than I was then. And so it's okay to change and grow and adapt.
Yeah. It gives you so much grace too. I look at my grandchildren and I think sometimes like, man, when I was 13 years old, I was such a mess. Yeah. And I made huge mistakes. And I look at them and I'm like, you're so much further ahead than I ever was at this age. But still, yet there's lots of grace for the learning process because you don't know until you come up against an obstacle or you have to go through a season what you're really even made of or what you can do.
So like what do we do now? Because I think that there's so much that we don't celebrate. What do we do to celebrate where we've come and how far we've come?
I think the first step is what we're doing now, even pausing and being aware of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when your kids grow and someone who hasn't seen them in a long time is like, wow, you know, they're a foot taller. But when you see them every day, you're like, really? So I think same with ourselves. Like change usually happens gradually. Every once in a while, it's an aha moment that's like a switch gets flipped. But I think more often it's just this slow process of shifting over time. So maybe even just pausing regularly. Like the New Year's a great time to do that. Maybe your birthday, like picking certain days during the year to pause and say, how have I grown? How am I different than I was last year?
Yeah. Well, I just got off of a huge road trip and 28 hours of driving in 4.5 days. I was like a pretzel getting out of the car. But I got to run into 2 of my nieces, and one I haven't seen in a really long time. And she had a little boy. His name is Strider. And it just, my heart, oh my gosh, she's such a cool little kid. But I sat with my niece and she was talking to me about motherhood. And motherhood can be really hard. But I could see all the things. Because the last time I saw her, she was a young woman, and now she's a mama, and she's in her 30s. And I was just like, sis, can I just share with you the things I see in you that are so amazing? And just one after the other, like, I see this when you interact with your little guy. I see this, and I think sometimes that's important too, is not only to acknowledge it in ourselves, but for somebody else to look into your eyes and say, hey, you know what? I've known you a long time and I see such growth in you and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that that's things that we should call out in each other. There was something that my youngest daughter was going through, and I just was like, hey, you get to get some of this wrong. Actually, you get to get a lot of it right. Like as you grow into this, Jennifer, you get to get this wrong. And when I was her age, I didn't think that I had permission to fail. Or to flub or to try something and not succeed.
Well, that's growth.
And so I want my daughter to go further than I did, faster than I did. And I think part of that is saying, hey, you don't have to beat yourself up about that. Pivot. You'll get it next time. It's fine.
You don't have to get this 100% right.
Right. Because none of us do.
No.
Yeah. I had the same conversation with my daughter this week.
All the daughters. Some deep conversations this week.
Yeah, that I said the expectation is never that you won't make a mistake. Like that's not a fair expectation of any of us. And what matters is what you do next.
Yeah.
Like what I tell myself is I'm going to make mistakes. What matters is that I do my best to make it right after.
Yeah.
Because all of us, that's the difference. Like all of us are going to do a lot of things. No matter how hard we try or how good our intentions are, it's what do we do next? You know, do we show up and do the work and make it right? That's how we grow. I think the expectation that to grow means you don't make mistakes. I think it means you get better at afterward being like, all right, there you go. This is an opportunity.
It's the recovery. It's the recovery.
Yeah.
You know, it's the bounce back.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, and I've also learned that having safe women in your life is an absolute gift. So that's also something I've learned. You know, when you grow up a certain way, or even in your own insecurities, sometimes if you make a mistake, especially with friends, your thought is, I've shut the door, or you go away. And I've realized now that to have safe women that look at you and say, you're safe with me.
Yeah.
You just colossally messed up, but you're safe with me. That is such a gift in your life. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah. And those women are probably thinking, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember, I think I've even told this story on the podcast, but I had an epic meltdown and fled the house and went to Chick-fil-A and ate waffle fries and came back and was worried about what Mark was going to say to me. And he just said, none of us are at our best all the time.
Yeah.
And like, that's exactly what I needed to hear, because
Yes.
all of us, every once in a while, we just have a moment. And that's part of being human.
It is.
And I think those are the moments we learn we're safe with each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That you don't have to be perfect or never mess up. It's just like, all right, we're all being human together and we get to take turns on who's the most human on any given day. And if you listen to the podcast, we've all taken turns of being the most human on any given episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of changing the mind. I would say and I won't go deep on this, but I would say I've also changed my mind on some things that I was taught about faith. Again, through conversations in this podcast, through just personal digging and reflection and spending time with the Lord, I have changed my mind about looking at the outside of a person. And I hope I never did this. I really pray I never did this. But again, that unconscious bias and thinking that I know where they stand with God, or thinking that I know where I stand with God. It is such a journey of grace for all of us. And now when I meet someone, again, this last trip that I've been on, I was with some people who just, I didn't know their full story. And as I sat down and I listened to their full story, God just showed me his love, his grace, his mercy. And I am so thankful that he's showing me his heart over what I perceive to be my own faith or somebody else's faith. Now I'm like, we are all on a journey. And there are going to be some people that stand in front of the Lord one day and he's going to look at them and say, you had it tough, but oh, honey, you leaned into me. You reached for me. People didn't see it, but I saw it. And welcome, welcome, welcome home. So there's been a whole lot in my faith that has shifted since the podcast began.
I like to pray, God, help me be open-hearted instead of closed-minded.
Yeah.
And
it's a good prayer.
And I think curiosity is
it is.
It really is. Like, I think curiosity is like one of the most underrated qualities in adults.
Yeah.
I love people who are curious, because that is like an open-heartedness plus humility equals curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's such a delightful quality in people, because it means we're giving other people room to change and grow too.
Sure. And we have to dig deep sometimes to see where those things came from. And I remember sitting under teaching that said, if you come to Wednesday night church, you're more, you're the real Christians. And I didn't believe that then,
right?
But still, yet it soaked in my heart.
Yeah.
And or if you do this, you're a true Christian. And I don't believe any of that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, you call on the name of Jesus, you're a real Christian.
Yeah.
Right where you're
absolutely.
at. Yeah. So lots of stuff.
Yeah. I think we're all just given expectations from our variety of sources, church, family, culture, our own inner selves, all of that. And the good news is we do get to outgrow some of those. To say,
goodness,
that maybe was helpful at one point, but it's not anymore. And I'm allowed to set it down.
Or maybe it was never.
Or maybe it was never helpful.
And maybe it was never helpful. It was just somebody's, opinion. And we don't have to accept that. So we're growing, we're changing. We're going to keep growing and keep changing. This is my prayer, is that the day before Jesus calls me home, that I will have learned something new about that grains of sand.
Yeah. I think 1,000,000 years from now, we'll still be saying, remember 50,000 years ago? When I hadn't gone to learn to watercolor yet. So,
look at what you've shown us. So praying for you today, sweet listener, as you're growing. And what is something you've changed your mind about since the podcast started? Come over onto our Facebook page and have a conversation with us about it. We'd love to hear from you.
And that's it for today's episode. Thanks for going deeper, becoming freer, and connecting with us. More Than Small Talk is a part of the KLRC Podcast Network and is produced by Kara Culver. Show notes and resources are available on the More Than Small Talk page on klrc.com. You can also join us in our Facebook group. Subscribe to More Than Small Talk on your favorite app so you won't ever miss an episode.